Okay, so I went and shot those loads today with the different seating depths. And one thing I'd like to talk about is how to measure a group. How I measure a group. The easiest way is to take a bullet that you're shooting, put it in your calipers, and zero your calipers to it. That way when you measure outside a hole to outside a hole, it's actually giving you center to center. So this is a group I shot a while back with a gun I did the load work for. This is 10 shots at 100 yards. So we just measure outside to outside. Easiest way to do it. So a lot of times when I'm shooting load development, and a lot of the times you're shooting, there's wind. There's always wind. So I don't get too wrapped up in a wind spread, horizontal. I'm more worried about a vertical. I like to see everything as tight as it can be, but you can't control the wind. And when I'm shooting groups for load development, I'm aiming at the same spot, essentially no matter what. So this is the first one. This was 1 thou off the lands. So we've got a vertical spread of 2.7 inches, which is well under a minute of angle. A minute of angle at that distance, it was actually 305 yards, would be 3.193. So, you know, that's not horrible. And when I did this, earlier I said I'd pick a load that I knew shot well out of this gun. I decided not to do that. Basically, I want to start over. A lot of you guys are starting from scratch. You have no idea what's going on with your gun or with your loads. So my suggestion there is look in your book, look at the max, look at the minimum, pick something in the middle. So I picked a load that essentially I knew does not shoot great in my gun, because a lot of you guys won't know where you're starting out at. You're just going to pick a load and you're going to go try this. So I'd shoot for the middle of what the book says and go out and try this with your seating depths, if you're going to. So that's 2.76 on an elevation spread. So here's 5 thou off the lands, 3.195. So that's barely 1 minute of angle, just barely above a minute of angle spread there on the elevation spread. We did have a bit of a wind today. It was anywhere from nothing to almost 10 miles an hour. And according to my calculations, that's 1.7 inches of windage spread just in wind. So that's why I don't get too carried away with, you know, windage spread when I'm trying to do load work when there's wind. I'm not afraid to do load work when there is wind. You just got to remember, look at your elevation spread. So this is 12 thou off the lands, 1.98 inches. It's looking pretty good at 305 yards. So here's 15 thou off the lands, 1.497. So we're just under half a minute of angle. All we've done is played with bullet seating depth. So when we move on to a ladder test, this is one to consider. Here's 20 thou off the lands. We're looking at 4.184 elevation. It's not very good. So when we're picking a bullet seating depth for our ladder test, I'm thinking this one is it. our maximum spread between our best group and our worst group is 2.88 inches, which is almost a minute of angle, just an elevation spread from doing bullet seating. So pretty interesting to see that. It makes a little more difference than I thought it would. The reason why I've always gone 15 thou off the lens is a good friend of mine, national champion shooter, says that's kind of where he starts everything that he does. And that's where I learned that. And it's kind of funny that going back through this, 15 thou off the lens was the best for this gun. And we bring you back to the group on another gun that I've done at 100 yards, 15 thou. I never messed with the seating depth on that. Just doing a ladder test, figuring out a powder charge. It may be different in your gun, but it's a pretty good place to start. So I want to show you one more thing. This is a different bullet, but I did shoot it today. This is my coyote load for that gun. It's a 123 grain bullet instead of 140. This is a load that I have worked up for this gun, and I'm at 1.43 on my elevation. So I'm very confident that once we do the load work on this and we come back, and it would be good to shoot another group at 305 yards to see where we've come from. We're going to see if we can tighten up this best group here with 15 thou off the lens. Let's see where we're at after that. So the next thing we need to do for a ladder test, and if you're following along, you need to have 100 brass prepped and ready to load. Primed, everything. Trimmed, all that stuff. So that's what we'll be doing next. It might take me a little bit longer for the next video to come out, because I've got to prep 100 more brass, and that's where I start with the ladder test. So we'll see you then.